Time for the answers for Daily Dictation 691. It was 6 words. Did you get them all? Did you get the right words? Let's listen one more time.
What'd you tell him that for?
What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? Oh, this was really tough. But actually, it's not too bad. What did, it's did, not would, should, could, it's did. What did you, that's 2 words, tell him for that for? And I got to turn off my monitors here. What did you tell him that for? There, now we'll have no reflection. What did you tell him that for? So let me explain the pronunciation. And I explain a lot more in my Daily Dictation Members lessons. You should join school.com/LME. You can go there and get more information. Anyway, we've got what, and then this word, of course, is did, but it's a contraction. So in this situation, what did, perfect pronunciation is whatted, okay? But when Americans are speaking fast, when we have similar sounds next to each other, we tend to put them together, and we focus actually on the second part. So we got a T here. You might call it a flap T, actually, but anyway, and a D here. We're going to focus on the D pronunciation. We're going to make it one, and we're going to have wud. Okay, and have a D, wud. Now, the word you actually has 3 pronunciations, but the most common pronunciation in daily English is y. And then we've got some math. Did you know that D plus Y equals J? Yeah, that's true. Did you know that T plus Y equals CH? Yeah, that's some English math. But right here, we got a D and a Y. We got a y pronunciation, dy, so what you becomes wudja, 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 wudja. When did you, when'd you, when'ja. How did you, how'd you, how'ja. Where did you, where'd you, where'd ya. Very common in daily English. Who'd you, when'd you, where'd you, why'd you, how'd you, should'd you. Now, what'd you tell him? So, and I've said this before, there are 7 H words. And these 7 words, typically the H is gone. So, excuse me, the pronunciation we typically get is but we have to link. If there's no consonant here, we're going to link. So tell him. What'd you tell him? What'd you tell him? What'd you tell him that for? Now here's something beautiful, and we've talked about this before too. This M is actually going to cancel the TH, and we're going to get an N sound. So tell him that. Tell him that. What'd you tell him that for? And then of course the last word is for, and it sounds like for, but because of the audio, it's a little bit difficult to hear, but he says it. And I'm giving you the answer, so if we listen again, I think you're gonna hear it, right? So let's just practice here. What'd you tell him that for? 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 Listen right now, listen 2 times.
What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for?
What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? It's a great, super common expression. If it was a woman, what'd you tell her? What'd you tell her that for? What'd you tell her that for? If it's a guy, what'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? Yeah, so the sentence itself is super simple. I mean, if you read the sentence, I know you will understand. But listening, that can be tough. And what I like to tell my students, if you can say it like an American, then you can hear it, okay? So building your speaking skills is actually really important. Now, when you're actually speaking English, should you say, what'd you tell him that for? No, unless it's natural. In a real situation, you should say, what did you tell him that for? What did you tell him that for? What did you tell him that for? Say it perfectly. But the American typically is just going to say, what'd you tell him that for? Now, there's one more thing I want to point out. We got a what and we got a for. And this is a dual. They work together. What for actually means why. Why did you tell him that? What did you tell him that for? Same thing. Okay? There's actually 4 of these expressions. We talk about it in my DDM classes. Now, these are free and they're great, and thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate it. But if you're serious about English, if you need to build your listening skills, your speaking skills, fix your pronunciation, then that's what we do. That is our specialty. We specialize in helping adults, especially business people, but anybody, fix their actual communication skills, listening, speaking, pronunciation. We are, in my opinion, the best. Actually, it's not just my opinion. We're the best. So you can get more information if you go to school.com/LME. Okay, just join our community, say hi, and ask a question. And we're there. Me, my other coaches, we've got over 1,000, almost 2,000 members in the community. Will answer you, and you can build friends. Yes. Oh, and of course, we put these videos in our community too, and there's no advertisements. So if you don't like advertisements, then you can watch in the community. It's all free. Okay, so right now, I want you guys to, first of all, repeat after me. What'd you tell him? Tell him that. Tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for? Check it out 2 more times, and together, let's master English.
What'd you tell him that for? What'd you tell him that for?